What's goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana, and welcome to another great episode of Good Friends, Better Rivals. This week we got a special guest coming up in a minute, but we're also going to be talking about a double week basically because Giants Cowboys faced on Thursday night. We're also going to talk about last week's matchups, Cleveland and New York, and our special guest Jose will be talking Ravens and Cowboys. So Caleb started the week off sad. And now he's just mildly irritated, but which is, it's a good thing. It's a good
better
thing.
Than sad.
It's better than sad. You're just mildly irritated. Shout out to the main man, Leo. Shout out to you, Leo. Appreciate you. Hope you had a great day. I hope you guys had a great Thursday. I know one person didn't. Did you two do?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was an uninspiring Thursday.
It was kind of a little bit uninspiring on that Thursday. You're actually correct. A couple of
what's wrong with the New York Stadium? Like they were just. I mean, was it just because it was Thursday? Because there was no energy in that stadium.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but you know what? Let's talk about energy. Let's talk about a person who's gonna bring the energy. He's gonna bring the heat. Gonna bring the honesty. He ain't no purple patroller. The people he calls out for being sycophants and won't open their eyes up to the problems of the Baltimore Ravens, like me. My eyes are still open to the New York Giants problems, even though I lie to myself on occasion. But you know who doesn't lie to himself, Caleb? You know who doesn't lie to himself? You know how you finally reached your enlightenment where you're like, I don't care that we win 12 games. It doesn't matter. You keep disappointing me. You remember when you finally reached that about a couple months ago?
Yeah.
This man was born with it. And every Wednesday, he preaches the gospel of it. It is the one. It is the only. It is one half of lunch break hot take. The purple half. The one, the only. Jose Garcia. Jose, how you doing, my brother?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me on. Great introduction.
You're welcome, my man. We're welcome. Because you know what, Jose? I'm gonna be honest with you. Me and Caleb, we watched our teams. Sometimes we have glasses. Sometimes those glasses were a little rosy. We used to make excuses. Like, no, he'll figure it out. Oh, no, Dak will figure it out.
I'd like to think of it more just being optimistic and actually liking my team.
I like my team too. Especially
I was more talking about Jose that sometimes it doesn't feel like he likes his team very much.
I get that a lot. Funny thing is, I picked them to win most weeks because I think they are one of the better teams in the league. But if you're one of the better teams in the league, then you have higher expectations, right?
Exactly.
Like, if you have an MVP caliber quarterback, and you have a team that people keep saying is a top 5 team, then you want to see them get to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
You don't want to see them choke against these other teams. So, and the things that people say we're negative about, we're spot on. Nobody says we're wrong. They just don't like to hear the truth. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, man. It's like, hey, man, it's not my fault that I'm honest and you're a liar. Like that's not my fault. Because
Jose, it may not be a liar. Just not saying everything. To point out.
Well, no, Caleb, you would lie to yourself, Caleb, about the Cowboys. I would tell you. Just wait. I would tell you. Just wait. And then what would happen, Caleb? What would happen, Caleb? Tell me what would happen.
Well, I like to think that we have a certain percentage of probabilities that we could,
Shut up, man! You're not a math. Just because you're in finance, stop using mathematics. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Speaking of it, guys, before the Thursday night game, let's go back to Sunday. It was America's game of the week. It was Ravens. It was Cowboys. The Wednesday before that Sunday, I was on the show, and in the chat, Jose pointed out the Ravens are going to win if they do one thing: run the goddamn ball. And you know what? Guess who agreed with him? Caleb. Switcheroo. Caleb actually picked the Cowboys to lose this week. Well, not Thursday, but Sunday. You guys are actually both correct because that's literally what happened before the fourth quarter started. It was looking like a blowout. The Ravens ran the ball. I believe Derrick Henry had 151 yards, 2 touchdowns in the victory. And you know what? That's what it is. It prepared. The Ravens did only win by 3, but that's because, John Harbaugh don't know what the hell he be doing sometimes. So let's break it down. When you're watching the game initially, Jose, did you think your prediction was going to come true initially?
Yeah, because I mean, I say all the time, Harbaugh and Mike McCarthy are one and the same. They look in the mirror and they see each other. All right, like this is what they do, man. When Harbaugh has a little bit more sense of urgency. That's really the only difference. And when I say sense of urgency in his job being on the line. Okay, when his back is against the wall, all of a sudden the team can execute. Play calling is a little bit better, and they look like the team that we thought they were going to be, and that's what they look like for 3 quarters. But then John Harbaugh again, and took his foot off the gas, and just to win. He went super conservative, and credit to Dallas, they fought back and got back in the game, and Harbaugh, thank God we had Lamar Jackson. That's all I can say, because that was really the only difference in that game was Lamar Jackson was able to make enough plays in that fourth quarter to run out the clock. But that was almost a disaster for us.
Absolutely, man, because late game coaching adjustments really are kind of key, because in the NFL, man, a lot of teams, a lot of good players, and the difference is coaching, right? Talk about Green Bay with Malik Willis. Everyone thought Malik Willis was just a flaming pile of garbage in Tennessee. Mike LaFleur was like, yeah, you're not that bad. Let me just restructure some things and you'll play fine. You're playing good. He's playing good. Am I saying he's Hall of Famer yet? No, not yet. But Malik Willis looks better in Green Bay than he did in Tennessee. So coaching matters. Caleb, when you saw the game as it was unfolding and you were saying, oh my God, they're up 28-6.
Yeah.
And it's over.
I didn't even get mad like I usually do, because I only get mad when I don't expect, certain things to happen. But this I completely expected. I completely expected what the Ravens offense can do to our bad rush defense. We just, when they run right at us, run right up the middle, or run right at Micah, they're going to gain yards, because the defensive tackles give no help to anybody. They don't help out the linebackers because they don't do their job. They could totally get pushed back right into the linebacker's lap, and then you have a whole open space for the running back to just run right through the hole. And then they run, and they know to run away from Demarcus Lawrence, because he's the only one that actually gets off a block when nobody else does. I don't even know if they're putting that goddamn effort to even get off a block, because they just get totally washed. They totally washed. And Michael Parsons is not big enough to be taking on multiple blockers like that. I mean, he's just not. He's not that size. Honestly, you should just put him at linebacker on like obvious running downs. Just put him at linebacker, because at least he won't be taking on multiple blocks at that point. And then, obviously passing situations, and you can put him back at defensive end. But that's how I'd play him. But obviously, Cowboys don't want to do that. They want to, keep him there where he's, getting worn down over and over, play after play. And, we see in this next game why he gets injured. But yeah, that's why run game sucks. The defensive tackles just are not good. And we even saw that they knew they weren't good. They knew they weren't good in training camp, when they were signing a bunch of guys, when they traded for a bunch of guys, this old guy, that old guy, and you knew they were like,
man,
oh shit.
Hey, man, let's not be ageist here. Jesus.
They were
old guy, this old guy, that.
They were.
It's crazy, man, about sports. It'd be like it's the famous tweet where it's like, I'm 35. I'm entering the prime of my life. Sports commentator, look at this dinosaur walking onto the field. He's the oldest in the league. He's 33. And you're like, what?
Caleb says something there, which same thing we were saying going into the season. You said that they knew what they were going into the season, and that's the same thing with the Ravens. I said, we knew our O-line was bad. That wasn't a shock. That's, in fact, Eric DeCosta, our GM, said it in a press conference that, hey, they're going to be better next year. So you already conceded that we weren't going to be that good. Even in that game, I don't think we played great. All of our big runs came off the left side. That was our stronger side. That's where we have Ronnie Stanley.
Yep.
Yeah. So everything to the right was a failure. Running, if you have more success, rushing is going to be on that side. They did a good job covering it up, but we already knew what our weaknesses were going into the season, and we got off to a terrible start. And people were like, well, what happened? Well, you knew what happened. They didn't really invest in the offense.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Apparently who can't run the ball on the Dallas Cowboys? The New York Giants on Thursday night. Apparently they don't know how to run the ball.
I saw that.
Apparently 26 yards rushing for Devin Singletary is good enough. Apparently Mozzie Smith said, you know what, guys, I'm gonna start playing football.
Yeah,
like, you know what, Mozzie?
Best game of his career. And if you
best game of his career,
if
apparently.
he had just done that 20 games for 20 games, it wasn't even anything spectacular, but that's how low the bar he has set for himself. He didn't do anything great, but if he could have just done that for 20 games, then he wouldn't look like the bust that he's been. But I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with just that performance every game. Because it was good. He held up. He took on the blockers. He held up, and he got tackled for loss. If he just done that every game, then that would have been fine for me. But against Ravens, he was terrible. He was getting pushed back. He would get
with the alleged horrible guards that Jose keeps talking about.
Yeah,
they are horrible.
If the Ravens have horrible guards that pushed around Mozzie Smith like that, what does that say about my guards? You know what I mean?
They're terrible, I guess.
Oh my God, they're
terrible.
bad. Oh my God. I never trust the John Runyon. That's all I gotta say. Never trust the John Runyon. He's an Eagle double agent.
But going on the offensive side, it was the same thing as the Saints game against the Ravens. That we couldn't, if we had just converted on the third downs, if we didn't have the stupid penalties that always push the drive back and stop the drives. Then we could have kept up. I mean, we still wouldn't have stopped them, obviously, but at least we can't keep up the score. We're still in the game. We don't have to have an amazing comeback in the fourth quarter, but I think that could have happened in the Saints game, could have happened in the Ravens game. But the offense, shoots themselves in the foot. They don't get, they see the defense struggling like hell, but they're not disciplined enough to do what they need to do. And they know that's all on them. When you're watching that defense out, poor as it is, you don't take it upon yourself to okay, we need to execute and we need to be perfect. And they look like crap too. In certain halves, and then they start getting it going in the fourth quarter. It's a little too late to get it going now. We're behind like 3 scores. And it's just it's bad. It's just bad schemes. I don't understand why
it comes down to bad coaching. It's just bad coaching.
Yeah, it's bad preparation because of the penalties for one. It's we're so undisciplined all the time. We have a penalty problem all the time. It's just these cream puff coaches that we always have don't provide any discipline to this team. And then
except Al Harris.
No, I'm saying the head coach. I mean, just the Wade Phillips and the Jason Garrett's and the Mike McCarthy's, all these cream puffs that don't provide any discipline to our team. That's why we always have penalty problems every single season. And then it shows up in this game, and we can't sustain drives like that. And then it's just a scheme. I don't understand why it's so easy for other teams to scheme their main guy wide open. How come? Well, why can't we do that? Why can't we get CD Lamb wide open? Why is he always covered like right there and has to make a contested catch all the time? Why? I don't get it. Why is he not in motion? Why is he not being put up all over the field? Why don't you give him any kind of route that makes him free? Why? I see that with other teams. I see the other teams like, guy wide open, and we have such a we were running slants, we're running hooks, and that's it. And then it's always a contested catch.
What I don't understand is like how you just use the word cream puff like it's 1994. That's a throwback statement. No, I know. No, I like that, Caleb. I like that. Bring it back. We call people soft now. You're a cream puff, God damn it.
Well, in the Ravens game, there was a stretch where our rookie Nate Wiggins was covering him. I mean, covering him. He couldn't cover him, and I felt like they didn't target him nearly enough. I mean, now the one time he did knock the ball out right there by the end zone. That wouldn't discourage me if I'm Dallas. I would say, all right, that happens. We're going to keep targeting that guy because obviously there's no rookie that's going to lock down CD Lamb. I mean, there's really no corner.
Yeah, not even a second-year player named Tay Banks can do that.
Right. Right. So I think that was an early mistake on their part. They didn't go to him nearly enough. And I think CeeDee Lamb was trying to say that, like, this guy's on me, that, single coverage, get me the ball. But But hey, thanks, I guess.
And I still understand. And then we don't got that, other weapons either. I mean, Cooks is just washed. He don't got the speed no more. He had a clear beat on Stevens on the downfield pass, and he couldn't get to it. He could not get to it. Like that means that's his, that's his whole game. That's been his game, his career, and all of a sudden he can't do it no more. So yeah, I mean he's just.
Well, Jake Ferguson was injured. Jake Ferguson was injured for that game, but apparently he was healthy enough for the Giants.
No, I mean Jake Ferguson was played against the Ravens. He was a leading receiver.
Oh, really? Oh, that's how unimportant he was that game. I didn't even know he played.
He was important. He was the leading receiver against the Ravens.
Huh. I didn't feel his impact. I usually feel his impact.
Well, he's the only reason why we scored the 3 touchdowns in the final quarter.
I completely forgot about Jake Ferguson. Oh, shout out to you, Jake Ferguson. Well, no, not shout out to you. Screw you, Jake Ferguson. I mean, shout out to you. Screw you. But shout out to the people in the chat. Shout out to Brodney there. What's up, Brodney? What's up, Buck? You shout out to the homie Eric L. So greetings, brother man. Have the most excellent show. Shout out to you, Eric. Rogue Salute. Pods here. Good evening. We got D Weezy, one half of betting the NFL. Lamar was good to me, unlike some of those Giants players. You know what, Diggsy? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the good game, then we'll talk about the bad game in a minute. But we're still talking Cowboys Ravens.
Yeah. Well, I just want to get to the running game. We knew we weren't going to run the ball, and it's just obviously because why even waste time doing that?
Couldn't even run the ball against us.
Exactly. So that's why it's just like a wasted down when we're trying to run against the Ravens, and then that's why it had to be all on deck to do what he can, and he showed up in the fourth quarter. That's about it. Otherwise, it wasn't looking too hot, and it's just it's just dumb how they put this team together for this year.
But did he show up in the fourth quarter, Caleb? Because the Ravens have basically saying we're going to win the game, let's become conservative and waste time? Or did he show up actually because he showed up? Because Lamar Jackson, after the game, I think Jose can bring this up, he was very upset that they didn't put the pedal on the gas and, stomp on the throw of the Cowboys. He felt like they left a lot of points desired on the table, which gave you guys.
I just think he gets in a rhythm sometimes. Like, we're going to talk about the Giants game. Like, you saw he was in a rhythm in the first half, but not so much in the second half, I think he's just, he needs to, get it down. Like, he needs to complete some passes. Then he starts getting going. Like, sometimes he just gets cold, and you see that for a whole half.
Yeah,
and then I think that's really just what it is.
Pretty much.
Well, I think again that goes to coaching, right? Like you have to get him some easy passes to get like you said, to get into that rhythm. Screen passes, little check downs, whatever. Do things that kind of get him in that rhythm. But I'm not sure what you're doing on that goal line where it should have been a safety like that. Those long developing plays right there at your one. You can't call that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's attributes to not having a run game, not being able to even go a couple of yards to get a little bit of space to do anything.
Yeah.
And so you're just forced into just having
pass on every play.
Yeah.
So when you get down to the red zone and you don't trust your run game and you got to pass, there isn't a lot of grass behind you because it's the red zone. You're screwed. You're screwed, basically.
That's been a big factor. We can't finish drives as we rely on Aubrey all the time because we don't get in good position in the red zone, and our drives fail.
Yo, speaking of Brandon Aubrey, he missed a 51-yarder last night. First 50-yard miss of his career.
But you don't speak about the 60-yarder he kicked.
Because who cares about that one?
Who cares?
Speaking of 60 yards, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. I don't know why that's a weird transition, but I digress here. But guys, yes, on Sunday the New York Giants went to Cleveland. I want to talk to Jose about. He is in NFC East. There's the Ravens. The Cleveland Browns. Jose. AFC North. I apologize. We are the NFC East. The Cleveland Browns. What are they? What are they?
Bad.
They're a team that's competitive, and if they get it right at quarterback, they'll be very dangerous. Last year they made it to the playoffs with going through like four or five different quarterbacks. Yep. Right, end up with Joe Flacco taking them to the playoffs. Well coached team. They have a lot of pieces, but man, it's crazy to say because at the time we thought they're getting a top 5 quarterback, but Deshaun Watson is holding the team back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Nick Chubb is still out. That was another big piece. But right now, they're not very good, but they will compete, but they're not going to win too many games.
No, man, no. Also, too, the New York Giants pressured them on, I believe in the first quarter, halfway through the second quarter, the New York Giants already had 3 sacks and 12 pressures or 11 pressures through the first quarter and a half, because, you know, the offensive line started losing players. You know, they lost James Hudson and they lost Wyatt Teller, and they kind of had like going their secondary offensive lineman. I think Jedrick Wills was out for a bit, and then he came back in the game. Brian Burns did something he usually doesn't do. He got a sack, a strip sack to be more exact, and it's looking like the Carolina Panthers won that trade. It's looking like they won that trade.
What did y'all give up for?
We gave up, I believe, a second and a fourth. But we ended up paying him over $100 million. So I believe we gave him $28 million to $38 million a year or something like that. And I think D Weezy said it last night when I was doing play-by-play for the game. He said this: if Brian Burns could get sacks, he would have never left Carolina. They would have given him the deal. But the problem is he's a pressure machine. Yo, I get them pressures. Oh, them pressures, I get you that. I'll give you 12 of them. But I'll give you 2 sacks, though.
Look, I mean, it's still early. Like, what if he turns it around? And you know, I think he can get sacks. I mean, Carolina's really bad, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's that type of talent. You know, going to a different scheme. Let's be real. You're going to another bad team, right? Let's see how things go later on in the season. The Ravens said the same thing about Matt Judon. You know, he can't get sacks, but you know, he went to a better coach team on that side of the ball at the time, and he was one of the leading rushers in the league the very next year. You know, next 2 years actually.
He's only had 1 double-digit sack season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
12 and a half. His other big year was the year prior to that. That was 9. Then in 2020 he had 9. So, you know,
yeah, Matt Judon.
He got 8 with you, but then he got 16 with New England.
That's my point, right? Like with us, he had like 1. No, he never had any. He never had any double-digit sack years with us. But the talent was obviously there. Like we knew he was that guy. He just didn't put up the stats because you know, in a Wink Martindale type of defense, you're not gonna get that many sacks because they blitz too much.
No,
but you know, going to a different scheme, it came out. Now for you guys, I don't know if you're still running the Wink special over there.
No, we moved over to Shane Bowen. With Cleveland, we blitzed on 54% of the time.
That's a lot.
You know, it's a lot. And then, you know, comparative to Dallas, we only blitzed 14% of the time. And then we only produced 0.3% pressures. But that's probably, you know, I'm going to connect both games because both games they kind of like similar because the offense, it was one man. It was Malik Neighbors. In Cleveland, he had, let me double check the Cleveland game because he had 10 catches, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns in Cleveland. And then with Dallas, he had 12 catches for over 100 yards, but no touchdowns. So there's that. Malik Neighbors, let me double check. So 8 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns against Cleveland. But against Dallas, he had over 10 catches, I believe. Right here, 12 catches, 115, no touchdowns. So he's basically been the offense for the last 3 weeks, right? It was the offense against Washington, 10 catches, 127 and a touchdown. It was the offense against Cleveland. He's the offense against Dallas. They can't stop him. None of them stopped him. He's the offense. The problem is, here's the thing. The problem is always goes back down to this, guys. And you guys have Dak and Lamar, $50 million men, and in some cases, I believe some of y'all are $50 million men. Daniel Jones, in the past 3 weeks, hasn't lost us a game. He hasn't lost. He hasn't been. No. He hasn't been the reason we lost. No. See, now you're just talking out of your ass.
I'm not talking out of your ass.
No, you're talking out of your ass.
If he could throw a deep ball, you guys would have won.
Let me finish.
How is that? How is that not on him?
Then. No, because you finish. God damn it. He hasn't lost us the game. But if you're being paid $40 million, you got to go out there and you got to win the goddamn game. And he isn't.
So he did. So he did lose. I'm looking at stats now: 29 for 40, 281 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. He lost you the game. He's supposed to be your best player.
Yes.
And
that's a good point.
He lost you the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot of underthrows on Thursday night. Well, with Cleveland, we kind of just catastrophic beginning of the game because of the fumble on the kickoff. And then they scored literally on the very next play. Like literally the very next play. We were already down 7-0. But our defense showed up and we completely abused their offensive line. We just took it over. We won the game. And their defensive line is similar to the Cowboys defensive line. It's a lot of pass rushers with Myles Garrett. It's a lot of good pass rushers. So you got to move the pass rushers side to side, make them move in space, tire them out so they don't pin their ears back and go after you. And that's what we did against Dallas. Let's connect both games. The Dallas run defense showed up. Was pretty good.
I think your run offense is just really bad.
Well, we're also very bad at running the ball. But the Dallas pass rush didn't show up though. Not like you used to do against the Giants, where they would have at least 6 sacks,
well,
8 sacks.
Dan Quinn.
Yeah,
we don't have Dan Quinn now. The pass rush left with Dan Quinn because we haven't gotten any pass rush and since the Cleveland game.
Exactly, because I keep telling people Mike Zimmer, he builds his defenses back to front. He's a DB coach. When he was in Cincinnati, they always drafted at least 2 DBs in the draft. I remember the Darquez Denard, Dre Kirkpatrick, Leon Ball, you name it, like a bunch of them. Yeah. And then in the defensive line, you had to worry about 2 people. It was Geno and Michael Johnson. That was it. In the middle of the field, it was Vontez and Ray Malaluga. The occasional DeMonte Pecco. Yeah, you remember them. You remember them Cincinnati Bengals teams, Jose. You remember them. They were solid, but they were built back to front. Back to front. Same thing in Minnesota. He had like 1 million DBs. Trey Wayans, Mike Hughes, Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Smith, Andrew Zendejo. He had like 8 of them. Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks. Then on the defensive line, who'd you have to worry about? Everson Griffin. Then they added Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
But you really didn't have to. Sharif Floyd. A Sharif Floyd. What's a Sharif Floyd? No offense, Sharif Floyd.
Didn't they get him in the first round?
Yeah, he was out of Florida.
Yeah, so it wasn't for lack of effort. Like, they spent a high draft pick on him. Just didn't hit.
Exactly. So the New York Giants stopped the Dallas pass rush on Thursday night. Because let's be real, that's the game we really want to talk about. No offense to Cleveland. We beat Cleveland. They suck. We're moving on. Thursday night. You know what I mean? Thursday night. They stopped the pass rush. Because last year, the first game against Dallas last year, it was first Sunday night game. It was the massacre at MetLife. Literally, the phrase, Jose. The phrase, when it rains, it pours?
Yes.
That's literally what happened last year. Week 1, it literally happened. The blocked field goal, then they score, then another interception, then another sack, and literally as the game went along, it went from drizzle rain to pure monsoon at the end of the game. You see, at one point, you kind of like, I feel sorry for Daniel Jones because there's a photo of him on the bench, literally being punched by the rain because that's how much rain it was. And his hands were in his hand, and he's like this. He's like, oh my God, my life is ruined. And it was horrific. But the first game this year against the Dallas Cowboys, it was a little different. They're not abusing Evan Neal anymore because Jermaine Illuminor is our right tackle. What they would do last year is they would overload the right side on Evan Neal because they can't overload Andrew Thomas because you try me, sucker. Because that's what happened, right? The match, it was 15 pass plays with Micah Parsons and Andrew Thomas. Michael Parsons only had one run pressure. Dallas only had 1 sack. Dallas had 1 sack.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones had all freaking day. And we all know Daniel Jones can't process fast, but when you give him all the time in the world to process, he'll eventually get it right.
Exactly.
And that's that's pretty much what happened. He threw all his short
him
routes.
getting it right is this: Malik Neighbors is down there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll find number one. Where's number one? That's what it was, and that's what it was. Where's number one? And he did it. He did
that's
very
what,
well.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Where's number one?
You get a star caliber player, then that's what you look for first.
Exactly.
You know?
But also too, man, it's looking bad because, we talk about draft picks. We chose Wan'Dale Robinson over George Pickens. We chose Tay Banks over Joey Porter Jr. And last night, Wan'Dale had a very solid game, like Wan'Dale does. Short passes, catch them, get a couple of yards and a first down. Wonderful. Had the key drop on fourth down. He dropped it. It was in his hands. He dropped it. He was too short for one of the deep balls because I bet you he was 5'10". He catches the ball, but he's 5'8".
He was behind the defensive back.
He was behind the defensive back, and he couldn't get to it. Jose, arms are short. Arms are short. It's like just can't do it.
Throw a better pass, man. Throw a better ball. You gotta know your receivers.
Yeah, man. You gotta know who you're throwing the ball to. You're throwing a deep ball to a 5'8" dude. You know what I mean? So you gotta put the ball a little bit better. You gotta layer it in. You know what I mean? And Tay Banks, man. CeeDee Lamb just ate him up. Barbecue chicken. It was not a contest.
He don't get the most corners though.
Yeah, I know, but there was a play.
If you put Joey Porter Jr. on the island with CeeDee Lamb, same thing happens.
I understand what you're talking about, Jose, but there was this one play where CeeDee Lamb doesn't even run a route, Jose. He's running in curves. He runs outside, he curves in, then he curves. You know the play I'm talking about, Caleb, on the touchdown. Yeah, the touchdown. It's not a route. He's not running a route. Not a slant, not a post, not a go. He's going in a curve. It's like you're watching Formula One when they're going in them little curves. That's literally what he did to him. He went outside, curved in, curved back out, curved in, and you're like, Tyler Newbin. It was like just backpedal.
Oh yeah, your safeties are horrible.
Oh my God, bro! Well, one of them is a rookie.
You tried to argue with me that they were any type of good.
No, I wasn't arguing they were good. I was saying they were better than Washington.
But they're not.
Washington's ones are shit too. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you're the worst.
You see the nonsense I gotta deal with, Jose?
Yours
you see that shit?
Worse.
He's telling me Washington safeties are better than mine when they're both shit.
Because no, you have the worst safeties in the league.
Who's Washington?
But Washington safeties are good.
They got Jeremy Chin.
Jeremy Chin. I spent a year talking to Brunny. How Brunny kept telling me how Jeremy Chin sucks.
Jeremy Chin had a moment. He had a moment, man, where he was a playmaker, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he ain't that guy anymore. Jeremy Chin's a starter over there?
Yeah, he's the starter. He's the starter in Washington.
Yeah, good for him. Good for Jeremy Chin, man.
Jeremy Chin, I don't know, dog. See, the Panthers fans, bro. They were happy that he left.
Hey, first, let me ask you something, man. I think I asked you this before. Brian Daboll, is he on the hot seat?
I don't think he should be. I think the person who should be on the hot seat is the man constructing the roster. Because Joe Shane has failed in a sense. So he gets 2 top 10 picks, pick 4 and pick 7. He drafts the second best defensive end in some people's eyes, in Kayvon Thibodeau, because some people liked him, some people like Aiden Hutchinson. No one thought Trayvon Walker was better than both of them. That's what threw everyone off when Jacksonville chose Trayvon Walker. So he drafted the second best defensive end, or first, depending on who you speak to. He drafts the consensus best tackle prospect his first year. Everyone said it. Everyone was like, Charles Cross is the best pass pro tackle. Ekwonu is a mauler. He's a dog in the run game. It's a little left refinement in the pass pro. But Evan Neal is the best of both worlds. Everyone said this. And they've barely panned out. One hasn't panned out, and the other one has shown some flashes with Tibbs. Then the next year, you draft Tay Banks. But the thing is, your second round picks didn't pan out either. The guards you drafted out of Carolina, the tackle and the guard, Marcus McKathan, he's cut. Darian Beavers tore his ACL. Same thing with Marcus McKathan. Injuries kind of ruined it. They both got cut. I think they're both on practice squads now. So there's that. You've really only hit on 2 picks. 2. Micah McFadden and Kayvon Thibodeau. Because you drafted Micah in the 4th round. So what he is now compared to where he was drafted, it's a hit. It's a hit. He's your starter. He's your starter with Bobby Okereke. And then there it is right there. You then hit again with your free agency signing with Bobby Okereke. He hasn't missed a single snap in his 2 years, or his year and a half in New York. The Brian Burns, another blockbuster thing you did. TBD. Darren Waller, failure.
Yeah, he was.
Failure.
Neighbors is looking like he's legit though.
It's looking like he's legit. But the thing is, that's cool and all.
Yeah.
But what about the other people after Malik Neighbors you drafted?
Yeah, that's good.
We'll see how that operates. Because I remember when Old Dominion, we had Trey Hawkins, the 3rd. He was this cornerback out of Old Dominion, and everyone was like, he was like 6th round pick. Everyone was like, oh my God, did we find a steal? He played great in the preseason, but you know how it is, Jose. You're playing against 3rd stringers, 2nd stringers, 4th stringers, and you look good. And guess what happened on week 1 last year when he started against the Dallas Cowboys? CeeDee Lamb literally was like, what the hell is this? Brandon Cooks literally was like, Caleb says, I'm washed. He thinks Brandon Cooks washed. Now when he played when he played the Giants last year, he had over 100 yards. It's like, what the hell is a Trey Hawkins the 3rd? What is that?
He's a 6th rounder.
He's a 6th rounder. Drew Phillips is looking good, comparatively. The 3rd round corner we drafted, he's been hurt. But Jalen Hyatt, what the hell? Like, what's going on with him? John Michael Schmitz, where everyone was like, look at John Michael Schmitz. He's the best. Like, that's the thing, man. It doesn't matter what everybody said. Exactly, Brodney. Me and Brodney have, because Carolina's going with Bryce Young. Everyone said Bryce Young's, it's him and CJ. They are the guys. And it's wrong. That's what happened with us. Everyone was saying Evan Neal. That's the one. Nothing. And it's bad. It's bad roster construction. Coach can only do much with bad roster construction. Really.
Wait, so how long has he been a GM?
He's been a GM since 2022. He has three draft classes. Three draft classes. In his first draft class, he had, he had
so he came in with Dayball?
He hired Dayball. They both came from Buffalo. That's why Brian Dayball had the inside track to get the job, because they're a package deal. So if he gets fired, Dayball is going to go with him.
Unless
sometimes you
that's usually how those things work out.
Yeah, you read about that. But also too, he hits on Daniel Bellinger, the 4th round pick, the tight end out of.
Does he?
What he hit his rookie year? He
hasn't done anything in 2 years.
That's the problem. Why did they relegate him? I don't understand. He's the best tight end on the roster. Theo Johnson, the rookie we drafted out of Penn State, all he is big, Jose. What have you always told me? Size ain't no skill. Who gives a shit that you 6'8"?
Size is not a skill.
Same thing with Theo Johnson. He's just big. I could talk about the game and how, the weird face mask penalty that they called that was actually on Dallas.
Yeah, it was a bad
call. Now I was on Dallas instead of Daniel. They called it on Daniel Bellinger, which is funny to me because they didn't review that call, but they reviewed the call that they called on the Dallas Cowboys on the screenplay.
That was a hold. Oh, that definitely was.
See?
I'm not gonna lie, like that. Those are bad calls. Those are horrible calls.
Jose, man. I don't know if did you watch the game on last night, Jose?
I did not.
You know what? Good.
Well, you saved yourself.
Good. You saved yourself. You saved yourself. Because I was doing play-by-play, and right away, when they made that call, I pointed out this ref crew is horrible. But I didn't say, I said there's a lot to be left desired with this reffing crew because I want to keep it professional. And then I stopped being professional and I called them bad. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. You know what I mean? Because it was a bad game but the thing is,
well, it was a bad game because we had like 100 penalties.
Well, some of them were justifiably.
Well, I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just
okay.
They threw like 100. They threw 100 flags on us.
Yeah, and Tyler Guyton was holding the entire game.
Oh yeah,
like
that's just rookie mistake.
He was tackling people, Caleb.
Well, he only tackled. Well, that's because he went off sides. He didn't want to get Dak killed. What is he supposed to do? Just let Dak get smashed?
Yes, because you get the penalty. You offset. No, but also he also tackled him again.
I'd rather him not hurt.
He also tackled him on the other play. There was also another play he tackled him. Jose, it was crazy.
And that one he fell off the. You could see the guy. He tripped on the guy's heel, and then he was falling, so he kind of grabbed onto the defender. So it looked
you can't do that. You can't do that.
I'm just saying he was falling. He was just trying to keep his balance.
Well, who cares? You can't do that, man. You can't do that. There's a couple of Giants.
It wasn't like he tackled him on purpose.
Yeah, he kind of tackled him. It's fine. No, it's fine. But the thing I'm making here is, man, it's Daniel Jones. There was chances for him to win the game. Like Darius Slayton had a step on, I believe it was Jordan Lewis. He had a step on him, and he underthrows the ball. He throws it to Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors beat Trayvon Diggs. He beat him, and Malik Hooker's running. Malik Hooker. He was running underneath Malik because when he was running under Malik,
you sure it wasn't Andrew Booth because Andrew Booth was getting cooked all.
No, I think it was both. No. It was the part where Malik and Hooker hit each other when Hooker's trying to go for the interception. Andrew Booth was being cooked all night. He was
only the half, which is why I give the Cowboys credit for actually making an adjustment and giving his ass on the bench and putting Aurora, which I didn't even know who the hell that was. I didn't even know we had him on the team. He just comes up out of nowhere and plays way better than Andrew Booth does.
Al Harris, man. It's Al Harris. Shout out to Al Harris. Jose, you remember Al Harris, Jose?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man's the truth.
Yeah, that's the thing. We probably should have just, if it's McCarthy's guy, he probably just should have promoted him to defensive coordinator instead of getting Mike Zimmer.
I would have done that. But to each his own, I guess. To each his own. So that's why I think Jerry wanted Mike Zimmer back.
Yeah, I mean that's why.
That's probably why. But here's the thing. But this play he beats Trayvon Diggs, beats him. He has like a step and a half on him. Malik Hooker he's underneath, so he's already been beat. But Daniel Jones doesn't lead Malik Neighbors. He underthrows him, and then Malik Hooker then comes underneath the play and he cuts him off. And he gets the interception, but he drops it because he has bad hands. Because that was just you had a pick right there. You just dropped it, and it's just like
Malik Neighbors dropped the
he had a concussion.
He dropped the pass.
He was concussed.
He dropped it. He didn't only drop that one. He dropped the one also in the 2 games before that could have won the game.
Yeah. He needs to make sure to catch those balls. But this one, he was concussed. He was concussed. He has an excuse. All right. You know what? I'm done talking about the Giants because talking about them makes me get a concussion. All right. So let's preview.
I just want to talk about the Cowboys. Ain't
no one give a shit about the Cowboys, man.
We didn't talk about the Cowboys.
What do you talk about? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? You guys playing like shit, but you still won.
We won. It wasn't a good win.
Fine, fucking talk about your stupid ass Cowboys.
We still won.
Whatever.
But like you said, the everybody criticized how bad
we invited a guest to the house, and they're just watching us argue the entire time. It's like, yo, when's the food ready?
Hey, this is a Cowboys and Giants show, man. I get it.
All right, hit me.
But yeah, the rush defense obviously got better. Bobby Smith best game of his career.
Did it get better, or did the Giants suck?
The Giants just sucked. It got better for one game. I don't think it's fixed. I don't think it is fixable unless they play better. I mean, the defensive tackles literally just got to play better. If he plays like that every single game, which I don't believe he will, then it's fixed. But it's just not unless you get another player from somewhere else. This is what's going to be. And honestly, yeah, it was just because the Giants sucked at running the ball. But as far as we have like no defensive backs. They're just gone. Like obviously, Deron Bland is still hurt. We get Kalen Carson hurt for this game. He's out. Andrew Booth looks like shit. And then we got this guy off the practice squad that comes up, and we're just playing with one corner. Then he goes out because he got the calf strain, or he was like something wrong with his calf. And then we were playing with like no corners out there.
Israel Mukwamu started playing corner.
Yeah, we were playing with Mukwamu and Owari.
Mukwamu was a college corner before you moved into safety.
Oh yeah, well that's true. He was.
Yeah. How about your players, Caleb? God damn it, man.
Yeah. He was. Well, I wish they would replace Donovan Wilson, because my God, Donovan Wilson had the guy. He's supposed to be known for a big hitter, a good tackler, and he has the running back in the backfield. He goes shoots the gap. Nobody's on him, and he doesn't make the tackle. And they get the fourth. They convert the fourth down. That's what he's supposed to be known for, and he doesn't do his job. So if he can't do that, he can't even cover. Just get him out and just get him out there. Because at least Wanye Thomas can make a play on the ball, and cover a little better. So I don't know what we're getting out of Donovan Wilson. So I'm kind of done with him.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
Yeah. So as far as the running game situation, we did a little better. It still looks like crap. A lot of people, they say Daddle's looking better, but honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think they look about the same. I don't know what people are saying that Daddle looks like so much better than Zeke. I think
they're both similar. Like
at least Zeke, falls forward. Doesn't run into a bunch of tacklers. He falls forward and gets yards. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Maybe I don't know. What did you think of Dalvin Cook when he was with the Ravens? Because we got to do something.
Dalvin Cook would never play for the Ravens.
He had like 2 or 3 carries, I think, for us, and that was pretty much it.
He played for the Ravens? Wow.
Yeah, he played last year.
Wow.
Look, some people will argue, hey, he didn't get enough reps, to really get a look at him, see if he still has anything. I think he's just done. Right. I think he's just done.
He's better than what we've been throwing out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the Cowboys are thinking. I mean, they brought back Zeke. I guess, I guess maybe they thought they're going to get more out of Rico Dowdle this year, but I thought, I don't know, you'd be a little bit more aggressive in getting a running back in the offseason.
Yeah. I don't get it. And Gary talked about, he can't pay the guy. It's like, what do you mean? Like, well, that's your own problems. You did bad contracts and pushed the can down the road and whatever, yada yada. Figure it out. Like, how do you just go look at your team and say we have decent tackles, we don't have no running backs, and we're just gonna win like that, and you're gonna sit there and say we're all in with our team looking like this? Like, how does that make sense? And
if you do it, this has always been my criticism with the Ravens, right? If this is a team you construct, then I want to hear the excuse. You better win, right? Yeah. If you decide, if the Cowboys say, hey, we don't need a running back, which is what you're saying with what you put out there, then go out there and you win it passing, right? You can't have a down game. You don't have the run game, and the pass game can't be off. That's the way you put the team together. And
it looked good for half, and then didn't look so good in the second half. But that's kind of been what this whole season's looked like. And then of course we get the injuries with Micah Parsons, and he has a high ankle sprain, probably going to be out for maybe a couple weeks. And then DeMarcus Lawrence foot sprain, be out for a couple weeks too. So if we go from little to no pass rush to absolutely no pass rush now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like literally, the Giants could have won this game. They had literally. It reminded me of you remember the year we made the playoffs. We were against it was Thursday. It was Thanksgiving. The Giants could have won that game because Dallas literally kept the Giants in the game with penalties and boneheaded mistakes. Same thing with this game. Boneheaded mistakes by Dallas, and the Giants were literally in the red zone. They literally kept making it into the red zone, but they kept settling for field goals. And they thought they'd be like, oh, we'll be Washington. No. You can't be Washington. You're not going to hit 7 field goals. That's not how that's just a once in a lifetime thing. That was historic. And Dallas literally crossed the 50-yard line, and they're already in their kicker's range. They were guaranteed points. The Giants should have won this game. And people talk about, man, yes, these dumbass people on Twitter talking about, like, we can't blame Daniel Jones. He showed up. When you're being paid $40 million and you haven't thrown consecutive games with multiple touchdown passes, and you have more yards than Dak Prescott passing, but he has 2 touchdowns and you have 0. Something's wrong. You have time. They literally nullified the Dallas pass rush. Last year, Dallas's pass rush, Dan Quinn this, Dan Quinn that, whatever. 8 sacks. They went from 8 to 1. And it's just like, bruh, something's amiss.
Well, he also took 2 of our good pass rushers in Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong to Washington. So
that's true. So in this case, roster construction also failed the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So all 3 of our teams, our GMs suck.
Well, that's what happens when your GM is also the owner. But
okay, he sucks. That's the point I make. Well, actually, technically, your GM is also Will McClay.
So you guys can, your GMs can get fired. Mine's always going to be there.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. But now, guys, let's move on. Let's preview this week. Me and Caleb already previewed this week because Cowboys Giants played on Thursday night. Let's talk about the big Sunday night game. 5:20 in the evening. It is Buffalo. It is Ravens. Jose, Buffalo's flying high. They're smoking hot. Yeah. But last week you said they do this every year and they always get brought down to earth. Is this the game they get brought down to earth?
I won't say brought down to earth. I mean, somewhat. I don't think they're going to put up 47 on us, right?
Mm-hmm. You're not Jacksonville.
No, I think it'll be a close game. I think we still win it. Not necessarily because we're the better team right now, but this is just what John Harbaugh does. I don't, we had to have that win last week. I think there'd have been a serious conversation about him being fired if we didn't. Mm-hmm. And I think there's still that pressure this week. He can't go 1-3 in his first 4 weeks. Right. I think he still has some pressure on him to go out there and perform, especially at home. We lost our first home game to the Raiders. I don't think we can have back-to-back home losses. And he's comfortable where he's at. So, and plus the way we won last week, it wasn't a comfortable win. It was a comfortable win, little different this week, but there's still that, man, we still had the same problems we've been having since week 1. And if we go in there and look bad and, on Sunday night, it's still going to be a conversation. So I believe, he's going to have the team prepared. Plus it's a primetime game, those type of situations when his back's against the wall, he goes into survival mode and, he starts calling the right plays. He makes sure the team executes. And I think he's going to do his job and Lamar will hold up his end and they're going to pull off the win.
All right. I believe so too. I think the Ravens win as well.
Yeah, I do not think that. If you watch betting the NFL, this was one of my 5 best bets of the week. Go watch it Wednesdays night at 8:00. It's on the channel right now. But yeah, it's one of my bets. Taking the Buffalo Bills. They are the underdogs on the road, and road dogs have been hidden a lot this year, way more than anything else that's been hit any other trend. So I do like the road dog in this situation, and the Bills have been playing great. I mean, they've been blowing out teams the last 2 weeks. And Josh Allen seems to be rolling. They're relying more on. They're not just relying on him; they're relying on the run game as well. Obviously, I'm not. Maybe they have a problem with this going against the Ravens because the Ravens do have a great rush defense. But if the Cowboys can get it going like that in the fourth quarter, I certainly do think the Bills are capable of doing that as well.
All right. It's a
No
great
CD
show,
Lamb
guys.
over there though.
No, yeah, they don't have a CD Lamb.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So remember that. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us. Jose, where can people find you, my man?
Yes, I am one half of Lunch Break Hot Take. I do a live show with my brother Brodney every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and our good friend Ferris over there has been gracious enough to join us in the last few episodes. Really appreciate you, Ferris, because you know your input, especially everything, but especially WNBA has been invaluable. So really appreciate that. But check us out. We also do an overtime show. We do the overtime show right after the main show, which you can find on our Patreon at patreon.com/LBHT show. You can find us everywhere on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. It's all the same at LBHT show.
All right, y'all. Caleb, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me at NFL-Games22 on Instagram and Twitter/X, and you can find me on this channel on Betting the NFL. Wednesdays 8:00. All we do is try to make you guys money. That is the goal of the show. So if you guys like making money, go watch it.
All right, y'all. My name is Ferris Malone. You can find me at Ferris Malone on Twitter. Find me here every Fridays. Usually we do 3:00. Today we did 5 because we wanted to accommodate our very special guest. Thank you, Jose, for joining us. 3:00 Pacific here every Friday, as well as for this upcoming season, every Giants game I'll be doing play-by-play. Last night I did Cowboys Giants. We're just improving every week. It's an improvement. We try to improve every week on it. Trying to be a sportscaster. You know what I mean? Trying to live the dream. But appreciate you guys for the support. Make sure to hit this like button, hit the subscribe. We had 180 subscribers, Caleb. 180. We're 20 away from 200. So keep liking, keep sharing, keep it moving and grooving. Thank you so much for your support. You know, we're switching over to we actually have our coffee page live. So join our coffee page. It's just like Patreon. It's ko-fi.com/LG_network. We have a multitude of tiers as well. So join that as well. You know, we got Discord access.
Is that how you say it? Coffee?
I think it's coffee. I thought it was Kofi, but now it's coffee. It's like you're buying somebody.
I wasn't sure if it was Kofi or Ko-Fi.
Yeah, I think it's coffee.
Makes sense. Okay.
Because you're buying someone a coffee. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's donations and memberships as well. So join that as well. We have Discord access, fantasy football, pick'ems. You can join our exclusive watch-alongs and join our review show, the post-credits. You name it, we got it. Game nights. You can join a show if you're choosing once a month, or recommend a topic for a show once a month where we talk about top fives or you name it, we do it. So there's that as well. That's at the $25 tier. We're also tinkering some stuff. So it's a living organism. You know what I mean? Well, it's not, not fully set in stone, but thank you guys so much for your support. Appreciate you. Stay safe, stay calm, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.